Welcome back to the Community Report on PCM Cable TV2. I'm Brian Hanner, and in this week's edition, we're discussing the Ohio School Facilities Commission's Exceptional Needs Program offering to the Dover City School District, and the voters will have the opportunity to decide whether or not they'll have the option to take them up on an offering for just a little more than $9 million of state aid in constructing a new high school on the city's north end. This time around, we're joined by Bill Pertisall of the Ohio School Facilities Commission. Bill, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Can you talk a little bit about the Exceptional Needs Program and the Ohio School Facilities Commission's approach to working with the Dover School District?
Well, the Exceptional Needs Program is different than our main program, which most people are familiar with, the Classroom Facilities Assistance Program. That particular program is based on where the district is on the equity rank in relation to other districts. For Dover City Schools, it would be a while before we got to them under that list. However, under the Exceptional Needs Program, it's an application-based program that allows them essentially to compete with other districts that feel that their building should be replaced based on the condition of the building.
I would say, just from my involvement in the community, hearing most voters believe something needs to be done. Mm-hmm. Not everyone, though, is ready to abandon the existing high school. And in fact, there are a number of people that are saying, why can't the state help us renovate the high school? You all have done this a few times before. Help us understand the thinking behind that process.
Well, the answer is we can, and we do renovations. If that's what's best for the district, for the community, we'll do that. However, under the ENP program, we're not allowed to do that because it's not part of the program.
We've talked to a number of other experts in this process who have talked about the roughly $30 million price tag of renovation seems frankly low to them based upon their experience in getting into an existing building versus a renovated one. What sort of experience have you had with this?
Well, and that gets back to what I was saying before, is that it's kind of a baseline number because it's our initial look at it. It's from that assessment that was done originally. If we were to take a real serious look at that, we would begin to look at other issues. For example, if the district wanted to think about reprogramming the building or repurposing the building, which I'm pretty sure they would because of the 21st century educational delivery method, which they've been talking a lot about. If we were to do that, we would look at the building and say, okay, there's probably some walls that need to be moved around and reconfigured in that building in order to accommodate that type of educational delivery method. Those dollars are not in the current assessment. So we would have to add that into it. We also have a high performance building requirement. LEED certified silver is what we require. So the team that's looking at that building would need to think about, okay, what on this building should be modified to be able to accommodate that. Things like amount of insulation on the roof, insulation in the walls. Those aren't necessarily things that are in the assessment because they're not infrastructure issues that we normally cover under our initial assessment. So those kinds of costs are not in there either. And then you have costs of things, what are you going to do with the kids when they're in the building? Are you going to swing them out into another space? Or are you going to try to renovate the building while it's occupied, which would require either phasing of construction or off-hour working or something. But the point is all of that has a dollar. There's dollars that are going to have to be assigned to that. We would have to explore each of those and then estimate what those things would cost and add that to that $30 million before we would really know what the true number is.
Should a voter be surprised then if the actual cost to the district to renovate the building exceeds the opportunity to construct new with the Exceptional Needs Program?
No, not at all. And our experience from other projects, because I've been with the commission for 10 years, I've seen a lot of different scenarios where districts have started off really focused on renovation, only to find out later on, after they've gone down that path, that this is probably not the best way to go. And again, we're neutral on it. Mm-hmm. We'll do whatever the district it's best for the district. However, it's our job to make sure that we give all the facts out so they don't go into this thinking everything is going to go the way they think it is, and then find out there's all these surprises later on. So we've had districts where they've changed their mind, either before they've gone to the polls, or sometimes even after they've gone to the polls, which is a much more difficult when you've got to change after everyone understood it to be a certain way. Mm-hmm.
Bill, can you talk a little bit about your experience with some of those districts? Can you give us an example of a district that met exceptional needs dollars or replaced a building that needed to be replaced, and how the educational delivery is different in a 21st century model that you spoke of a bit ago?
Yeah, well, I see that as kind of a two-part question. The experience with some actual cases, I've been working with the City of Cleveland for 10+ years, and of course they've done a lot of construction, and the one building that a lot of folks have heard about is the John Hay High School, which you can go out there and see it. It's a completely renovated, old, beautiful building. We went into that knowing that it exceeded our 2/3 rule, and the district still wanted to renovate it. We went through the validation and a lot of things that we needed to do to help explore potential costs. However, even after we did that, there were additional costs that no one knew about. Once they tore into some of the walls, they found pipes with asbestos, and there was a big bust on the hazardous material costs. And that building went way above what it would have cost to replace that building. I think $3 or $4 million is what it went above. And so that kind of left a little bit of a bad taste in the district's mouth, and in fact has affected a lot of their future work that they're doing with us. They're taking a much harder look at renovations. So there was a lesson learned there for the City of Cleveland. It's a beautiful building, don't get me wrong, you can go down there and look at it, but there was a price tag that went along with it. And then there's other districts, Ironton City Schools, another old, beautiful high school. They were, when I first went down there, they said, we're not even going to consider anything but a renovation for that project. So I said, fine, we'll work with you, but we're going to need to go through the steps to make sure we uncover all the hidden costs that might be in this building. And we did that. And it took about 2 or 3 years, but eventually, once we had all the facts on the table and they had community engagement meetings and got the input from the community, as much as they loved that building, they realized that if they wanted that building, they were going to have to spend a lot more money. And what they were getting in the new building in terms of programmatic offerings compared to what limitations the old building had, they decided to change and go to a new building, which was really surprising to me. Because as I said, the message when I went down there is, don't even talk about a renovation. You know, the people here are going to string you up if you do that. So, you know, I let the process just go through, and it came out in the end that after they had all the facts, they changed their mind. So those are 2 examples of how those things played out.
You've had an opportunity to see not just this campaign, but many campaigns and many districts go through the very challenging environment that we're experiencing here in Dover with the opportunity to replace the high school building. Help us understand what's different about Dover. What makes Dover different? How has the process been different here than it has been elsewhere? Anything that you would be able to provide in terms of a perspective from Columbus?
I think the benefit that Dover has is all the folks that went before them and the experiences that we can bring and share with them. And they've been really good at trying to get perspectives from everyone and trying to bring in experts, folks who've got a lot of experience in school construction and in renovation, and have had a lot of discussions about this whole matter, and then trying to get the community to understand it and help them make the best decision. So I think their thoroughness so far in doing that is probably, for me, what I think separates them from a lot of other districts, just making an effort to really try to get all the facts on the table and let people make the best decision.
Well, we thank you very much. Bill Pertisol from the Ohio Schools Facilities Commission, and you've been watching the Community Report here on PCM Cable TV 2.